I wanted to make sure that I was up to y'all's standards of drunk history, and I'm excited to go over some chapters with you all.
All right, I'm gonna fake yell. tWoTcast episode 266.
Why does your fake yell sound like a woman?
I want to fake yell really loud, like a weird loud go. We are tWoTcast episode 266. Whatever, bitches.
All right, everyone, shut the fuck up.
Wheel of Time. Reread podcast. Explicit and R freaking rated. Jono's the wild card, always talking shit. Joe's the straight man. He's a total dick. Tom calls in if he's not too busy. We are tWoTcast!
You're listening to tWoTcast, Wheel Time reread podcast. I was thinking about that the other day, by the way. Isn't it reread? We never did the last book the first time around.
It's a reread except for the last book.
We're not there yet.
Now covering Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time, Book 2, The Great Hunt. With me is Jono.
Jono.
Joe.
Oh, hey, Tom.
Tom, study your math. And also with us this week is Gus from Wheel Take. Say hello, Gus.
Hello.
Hey, Gus.
I was hoping you were going to say hello, Gus.
Hello, Gus.
That works.
I already said hi to you, but
I know how to take direction.
I'll pretend I didn't do that yet.
Gus, just watching Home Alone 3, and obviously is a bunch of callbacks to Home Alone 1.
Mm-hmm.
Should have done that. Because you know what? It made me feel better about watching Home Alone 3 because it's an atrocious movie.
Yeah, I really fell off the Home Alone train after Home Alone 2.
As you should.
Good.
Yeah.
There's no other answer.
Yeah.
There's no other answer. So I actually got on in Home Alone 3. Not a big fan of Kevin McAllister, the original. So you get the fuck off this podcast.
We review a Home Alone movie every Christmas. We do an audio commentary while we watch the movie together.
Oh, really?
So we've gone pretty deep down.
But we're out of movies.
That well.
Sure.
Last year we watched Dog Alone.
That's
Dog,
true.
that would have what was it? What was
It
it?
was
called?
Bone Alone. It was Bone
Bone
Alone.
Alone.
There's a bone alone?
There's a bone. It's not connected.
You think
called Bone Alone,
okay.
is it?
I was going to say, I would watch a dog set up elaborate booby traps, but...
That's what it was.
literally what happened.
It was but it's just not part of those movies.
it's an independent...
That's exactly what it was.
Sure,
Yeah.
okay.
It is a Home Alone movie with dogs. It's pretty good.
Well, I know what I'm
Right?
doing after this now, so that's good.
Hey, quick note. Be careful what you Google. Bone Alone, your original thing, is the right one. The second thing is just masturbation. So
That lines up.
Gus, tell us about your show.
What's up? I am the co-host of Wheel Takes. Wheel Takes is a podcast where myself and my fiance, Allie, read through... Thank you. We were supposed to get married last weekend, actually.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
COVID.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, COVID happened. So, we figured... Let's push off so we don't kill my grandmother, or ourselves for that matter, because we both have asthma. But we were supposed to get married last weekend, and our podcast is I am rereading. I know everything that you can know about the Wheel of Time, and Allie is reading through for the first time. And right now, on our feed, we're through the end of Dragon Reborn. In terms of what we've actually read, Allie's gone through, right before they all leave the Stone of Tyr in book 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
I made her stop so that we could make sure we were fully caught up with recording.
Made her stop. I can't wait to see what your language is going to look like after you're married.
Yeah, she said, "Oh, this next episode's called this next chapter's called Leave Takings. Can't we listen to that?" And I said, "I think that that's going to affect how you feel about the 3 chapters that you haven't talked about yet. Because right now she thinks Rand's going to stay in Tyr and invade Ilion."
Did you?
I'm interested to hear like certain things like that. Like I was just saying before we started the podcast, we had Anon from Cool Story Podcast, and they're kind of the same situation as you guys. And one of them hasn't read, and one of them has. And he was kind of like, "Oh, he thinks Perrin's going to be a werewolf," and I was like, "What?" And it's like that kind of shit that I'm just like, I really love all these like fresh perspectives on like the series, because even when we did it the first time around, we had all read it like a million times. So it's just like we didn't have anyone on our podcast that hadn't been through the series.
I was going to say, how confident were you that she was going to make it this far?
We actually didn't start the podcast until she got through Eye of the World.
Oh, okay.
Because we share most of the stuff we like. I've read a lot of books that she's recommended to me, and she has been gracious enough to read a lot of books that I've recommended to her. And then I got her into Wheel of Time with the audiobooks.
Any dudes? Yeah.
Sorry?
Oh, sharing what you like. Just asking for Tom. Tom's in an open relationship and kind of like...
I can't say we've done that, but thank you for I appreciate that you asked. Yeah. That's very good of you. Yeah. We share a lot of media. She got me into Survivor, and now we write Survivor blogs together.
Okay,
and I got her into Wheel of Time, and. After she finished book 1 and said, this is really good, I think actually I would go through the rest of this. I said, well, what if we put stakes on this fun thing? What if we made a podcast?
Yeah.
And here we are now. We're in book 4, and it has given both of us a lot of joy in this uncertain time for everyone.
It's kind of awesome.
It has been great.
How fast do you guys kind of cover it? Are you moving at a good clip, or when did you start?
We started in September of last year, and we were pretty inconsistent in our uploads until, March of this year. And then we found ourselves with a lot of spare time, and we've actually done multiple what we call them week of wheel takes, where Allie is low on work and my day job is really slow, and we find ourselves with an abundance of time, so we will record sometimes 5 episodes in a week.
That's awesome.
And upload 5 episodes in a week. And it's stupid, it's ridiculous, but it's really fun.
Really not. It's really not.
You had to do that for the podcast?
Yeah, because we your incredibly pleasant and fun and wonderful podcast-a-thon. The last time y'all saw me, and I was also really fucking drunk by the end of that.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
We had to do a full 5 episodes because I believe it was you guys actually pushed us over our donation limit single-handedly. So thank you for that. It was, if I'm remembering correctly, which is questionable because of all the alcohol.
Nice. I guess so. A quick piece of unnecessary news. My wife, my now wife, beforehand she was just some chick called girlfriend. She read the first 8, and then at 9, kind of like not too long after I proposed, all of a sudden stopped.
Oh, so
is there a correlation between that? She's like, I need to work to get to this point of marriage. I'm out.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a good thing you didn't get married yet.
Shit, I'm at my 2-year anniversary now. Shit.
Just keep pushing back the wedding.
Hey, as an asthmatic, I understand your concerns. You know what? Maybe don't take your steroidal inhaler for a bit if you're on one of those, and just make sure that you can get all 14 books all the way done before you marry her.
Well, at this pace, we have finished 2 and 3 in what?
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
So that's only.
It's 11 books, so 5.5 years. That's
5.5 years.
It's a decent time to be engaged. Roy.
That's a solid. Yeah, that is a solid 19th century engagement.
Just bringing you on as your engagement plans keep getting down further and further.
Everyone gets more and more confused and more stressed out.
Yeah. Watching her, go from radiant bride to be to just slowly demoralized, I think really reminds me of my own trajectory of marriage. So I'm excited to live that through you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh, Jono. Always a delight.
Here to help.
I love a good dynamic.
Yeah. But
all right, I have a weird. Tell me more about the Survivor blog, because I'm very weirdly interested in what the fuck that's about.
Yeah, you're familiar with the show Survivor. You've probably heard of it.
Sure. Is it still on?
I loved it.
That is the first question everyone asks. Yeah, Survivor. Yeah, it's still on. It started in what, 2000, 2001, I think?
Who knows? I don't know. Yeah, a while ago.
And the first season was in Borneo, and then the second season, which was in Australia, actually aired after the Super Bowl because it was so big. And then it was pretty, large part of the zeitgeist for several years. And
I was there.
I think it was pretty solid for like 5-6 seasons, I would almost say, before it started to like. Yeah.
I'm pretty old. I was there.
So Survivor has continued.
Would you call it a Survivor?
I would call it a solid Survivor. I would say that it's done a great job of surviving. It lives up to its name. But
I mean, I guess that's all you can ask out of that show.
I suppose you really couldn't do much better than telling folks that Survivor survives. So Survivor,
they do 2 seasons a year. That's insane.
2 a year. Yeah. Well, because
I guess it's easy because it's completely separated. It has nothing to do with like a through plot line, and they can just film back to back, basically.
Yeah.
That's what they did back then too.
They did. Yeah. They since the beginning, it's 39 days is the in-game time. And that's a whole fucking season. Can I swear on this podcast? I assume
absolutely.
Yes.
Oh my God,
right.
you can.
So 39 days is the whole last season.
That already just based on saying fuck everything.
I figured, but I wanted to make doubly, triply sure. I don't want to step on that.
If you've got any sort of sexist thing built up, Joe is your man. Like Joe, whatever you got built up.
If you thought there was a chance we couldn't curse on the show, you're in for a real shock in the next hour.
I didn't think there was a chance that I couldn't curse. I just wanted to ask. I figure verbalized consent for cursing is better than implied. So check it out.
It's better if you said fuck and we were all like, whoa.
Who is this man? Elaine,
can I get on the show? Not like that, sir. Not like that.
Dude, we're fucking gentlemen. We're gentlemen.
We're on book 4 right now, and we're dealing with Elaine like rolling up to Rand and being like, "Hi, I think you're really cool." And then Allie's like, "Oh, what a fucking prude." And I'm thinking forward to book 9 where she's like, "Knock me up, motherfucker." And no parallel between the two.
If you want a nut here, cool.
You should.
Just throw me in.
I'm pretty sure that line was in the book. "Knock me up, motherfucker." That's in there.
It's basically what she says.
And also, if you want a nut here.
That sounds Tarvalon on the map.
That's vintage Jordan.
So Survivor, they just finished their 40th season. It wrapped in May. 40 fucking seasons.
Same way.
Same
2 a year.
Same game.
2020, bro.
Yeah. Currently, we would actually be going into 41 right now, but they had to delay filming for COVID and, for the foreseeable future, no Survivor. But
what's that going to do to your blog?
It's devastating. Well, right now we're a Big Brother blog.
Oh, really?
I've got to ask, as a show Survivor, this seems like the ultimate survival. Why wouldn't they keep going?
Yeah, it seems like a bubble is pretty easy.
If you
that's a solid point, Tom.
The trouble is they
get out there. If you get COVID, then you've been voted off the island.
The trouble is they film outside of the States. They film in Fiji now. Almost since season 33, they've only filmed in Fiji. And Fiji is like, fuck you guys. Americans are full of COVID, which we are.
Right.
So, no, you cannot fly 50 people out here.
I feel like it would just be like, not that they're not wrong for doing that, but I feel like if it was just like they were tested, they quarantined for several weeks, and then they flew them out there or something. But I guess it's trusting. It's a matter of trust. Yeah,
they were in negotiation about that.
Yeah,
they should have filmed season 41 at Panama City. Over spring break this year. That would have been terrifying.
They were talking about doing it in Mexico for a while, but the host, Jeff Probst, is really in love with Fiji for some fucking reason, which is weird because the first 33... Well, it's a weird thing is the first 33 seasons were all... Survivor Africa, Survivor Australia, Survivor Panama, Survivor Guatemala. So
it is sort of weird that they keep going back to one place.
Yeah, he owns property. Don't worry about it.
Maybe
probably what it is.
Maybe the first 33 seasons were a complete cover for him trying to find his favorite place on Earth, and they got to Fiji. He's like, I found it.
It is definitely his favorite place.
Very possible. Very possible.
They're just like, all right, then we'll just film the show here every year. And it's like,
we were in Hawaii in January for New Year's before the world stopped, and we actually happened to be at the same hotel as Probst, and
Did you freak the fuck out?
We lost our shit because we were going to the gym.
Fanboyed out. Yeah.
This is nuts. We were going to the gym. We were wearing buffs because we have Survivor buffs. Let me see if I can. Here's one. And Jeff Probst is driving around the hotel outside because it's Hawaii in a golf cart, and he sees us with our buffs, and he goes, oh, "Is that a Survivor buff?" And I don't know who it is. I just think someone likes Survivor, and I go, "Oh yeah, Survivor." Jeff Probst turns his golf cart around, drives back to us, stops, and hops out and talks to us for 15 minutes.
Can I ask you a question?
Survivor.
Did you at any point reveal that you had a blog about for Survivor and you're huge fans and that you like?
Yeah.
Please say yes. Okay, good.
Yeah, we said, "Oh my God, we wrote a blog for you. We love Survivor." He said, "Oh my God, you guys are what keeps us on the air." And we didn't tell him that we write for the website that publishes all the spoilers because we didn't think he'd like that.
Well, now he knows.
I mean, he may not have minded.
He might not have minded, but it's we don't spoil like who wins, but the site's called Inside Survivor, and we publish like the new casts and the upcoming twists and stuff. We never know who wins because we write content throughout the season. But
did you ask him if you could be on the show?
No, but I did start recording my audition video right after that because I would love to be on that show, man.
And we're gonna put that up.
That was my next question. Had you ever tried out?
I have started recording audition videos, and then COVID happened, and my morale changed. But it's something I'm hoping.
I mean, it sounds like you guys should definitely do that.
I would like to. We'll see. Yeah. You know, you tag Jeff Probst, and I'll send him my video right after. We'll see what happens.
Done.
I would actually watch that season.
Yeah.
By the way, Survivor.
That's true.
Speaking of Survivor, Rafe Judkins.
Oh yeah, that's
was on Survivor.
I forgot about that.
That's correct.
Survivor Guatemala.
Hey, I'm assuming you've covered and seen that season in great detail. How did he do?
You know, he didn't win.
Lost faith in this show entirely. Fuck this TV.
He did all right. It was a bad season.
Okay.
Production agrees that it was not a very good season. It did not. He did not. I think he made jury, but he didn't win. And they only
in
season 40.
I think I knew he didn't win, but
yeah.
As a contestant in general, how do you think he did?
Fine.
If you were going to give him a number from 1 to 10, what would it be? 10 being the best.
Like a 6.5.
Yeah. As a showrunner, what do you look?
Not horrible, but not great.
6.5.
Yeah.
Guys, I got to ask, as a Wheel of Time fan with a Wheel of Time podcast and a Survivor fan with a Survivor blog, and then you find out the guy that's making the Wheel of Time TV show was on Survivor, what's your confidence level that you're not in the Matrix right now?
Very low. I would give me a 35% chance of not being in the Matrix.
Yeah, there's a really good chance you're asleep right now.
Gus just wakes up tomorrow. It's all a simulation, man.
Anytime people
down. What did this podcast voice say to you?
People post those memes.
If there even is an alley, we don't know.
She may not be.
She's probably not.
I could be living in a shack somewhere for all I know.
All right, is everybody ready?
I think it's quite clear that we're done.
Sure.
Spoiler warning.
Yeah, Rafe Judkins is not going to win Survivor.
Yeah, and he also just did. Okay. This is our episode covering the Great Hunter by Rob Jordan, chapters 18 through 21. Chapter 18, I don't have anything written down. What's it called, Joe?
It is called To the White Tower. And it is a Gween chapter perspective. All right. And then I'm going to leave it to Gus to tell us what the chapter was about.
All right. So this chapter, narrated by one Gwen, Egwen, and Gween, Egwen.
All of those are fine.
Any and all. We're on a boat. We are rolling up the river. Not rolling down the river. Actually, we are rolling down the river because you can't go up the river on a boat that doesn't have sweeps, which is the Wheel of Time term for oars. Towards Tarvalon. And Nynaeve's having a bad time. Nynaeve is nauseated, which is different from nauseous. I learned that recently. And no one's happy because Nynaeve is nauseated. And if Nynaeve is having a bad time, then everyone around Nynaeve is having a bad time. But someone has something to say. And that someone is named Swan Sanche. She's going to come in. She's going to say, hello, you novices who happen to be of a potential channeling strength that is stronger than anyone we have ever seen. Literally, ever. Because Moiraine used to be the top strength possibility. Also Swan, also Elida. Egwene's having dreams. There's dudes with eyes for fire. Who could that be?
Who could it be now?
Am I allowed to talk about things after?
You can talk about.
Oh yeah. It's yeah, go for it. Yeah.
You get a spoiler warning. I want to make sure that this wasn't, tailored.
Who could that be?
All the way to the end of the book.
All right, great. It's your boy, Balzaman. I'm not going to tell Olivia. No, not Olivia. That's a different person. Anaya about that because we don't trust Aes Sedai in this world, in this chapter. But Nynaeve's puking. Egwene's dreaming. Swan's going to roll in. She's going to say, hey, my friends. You ready for your lesson? It's time to learn about the one power, Saidar. What does Nynaeve think? Fuck this noise. I'm going on deck. Stand up, vomit, walk a step, vomit. Swan says, no thank you. Sit the fuck down. You don't know shit and you're a wilder. Nynaeve says, actually, fuck you. I'd like to be on deck. Swan's not having it. Eventually, Nynaeve sits down. Swan runs him through the gamut. What's the gamut? There's a rosebud. You're going to open it. It's you. Shocker. Spoiler. You're the rosebud. You've always been the rosebud. You're going to feel some stuff. Think about it for a while.
Six camp.
Nynaeve says, listen, power? Cool. Swords? Cooler. Swan says, oh, you like swords? Suddenly there's a sword in the air. But it's not in the air. It is the air. It's a sword that's air. It's made out of air. She goes, hey, you think that swords are cool? Here's a fucking sword for you. Anyway, you can't move anymore. What happened? She held her with air. Because that's a thing you can do, is you can use the air as magic. Wow. The ramifications of this magic system are endless. Nynaeve, not feeling it, saw what Swan did, blasts Swan into the wall with some air. Whoa. You just hit the Pope in the face with a baseball bat. Wait up. The Pope knows how to make you stop being able to hit her with a baseball bat. She does that. Next level stuff. From here, everyone calms down. We've had our baseball batting. We've had our weird orgasm references.
Yeah.
We're going to put Nynaeve. We're going to put Nynaeve through her paces for a little fucking while. Nynaeve is not going to have a good time, but Swan's going to let her in on a little secret. And that little secret is, hey, someday, if you know what you're on about, you're going to be able to do this too. You're going to be able to cut people off in the short term, not in the permanent term. We're not going to talk about stilling because everyone gets uncomfortable when you talk about stilling. You
need a moment. They reach the shining walls.
Yeah, that's it. Really, they go through. They get put through their paces,
as women should,
as you must when you are learning. As any student, as any student should do. You take your time. You study your things, and eventually, math. Biology. Yeah. Eventually, you get to physics. Spend some time on metaphysics.
They're women. They don't need to go too far into this, but yeah,
they can go as far as they would like. I'd say.
Well, that's a different discussion. That's on sexuality.
True.
Jono, stop interrupting him.
I can't stop.
After some time,
mute your microphone.
Thinking about different things that one might do.
Yeah.
And learning about rosebuds, or in Nynaeve's case, a thorn bush, I think, because she can't get past a thorn bush because she's still got her block that she's going to have for a long fucking time. Allie is so ready for her to be done with that But Nynaeve goes through the shit because she blasts Swan into the wall, Swan blasts her into the wall, and then suddenly Swan isn't blasted into the wall anymore because of shielding. Wow. And we get to the Shining Walls. We look at them. We get like 7 fucking pages about how cool it is. Sheriam rolls up. She's like, yeah, they're pretty great. Aren't they beautiful? And the girls are like, yes, they are. Who are you? And she goes, I'm going to spank you for like the next 4 books. Clutch. And then we kind of just sort of fade out from that with the promise of incessant spanking to come.
Fuck yes to your entire summary of what happens there.
That was the best, actual drunk history version I've ever gotten. I think one of the main things I've wanted out of everyone is to be to do the conversations in their own voice that is so common on that show, and no one has really given that to us yet, except for you. And I'm like, the whole time I was like, "Yay! Keep this up!" This is
thank you.
It's funny.
You did a good job.
I can't wait to see what it's like at chapter 21.
All right, go ahead, Jono. Sorry I cut you off.
Oh, I mean, it doesn't have to be me, but I mean, what I love about this chapter is that it immediately starts so many things that are goddamn irritating as shit. First off, Nynaeve's nonstop motion sickness doesn't have to be a piece that we talk about every time, but guess what? Jordan says, yes, it does.
Well, they're on boats a lot.
Yeah, they're on boats.
And she hates them.
Yeah, by the way.
Maybe Harriet got motion sickness.
It could be. And also,
that's possible.
He has said that every woman is Harriet.
But what's interesting to me as the annoying Brown-Ajah douchebag that I am is we already talked about it on the way up, but now here they are on their way down. They're channeling the weather to make sure that they always have a current with them.
Yeah, and they're fucking shit up on the way without repercussions or giving a fuck. It's really weird.
How about they do it there and back? So they go by and your house is wrecked and you're fucking pissed off and everything's flooded, but whatever, I'll rebuild. And then 3 days later, they come right back.
It's
even 3 days. It's not even that long. Also, it's what is the necessary? Where's the need for speed coming in? That's what I don't understand. I'm like, you're going downriver, just let it happen. Don't fuck up the environment on your way. What are you doing?
Well, 0 for 1. Sorry that was your list of shit, but 0 for 1. Yeah, the way up I kind of get because
the way up I get.
Yeah,
the way down I'm like, what's the point?
For a certain amount of time, and Rand may leave.
Pleasure cruise.
Yeah. Afterwards.
You would think the Marilyn herself would be pretty upset about destroying a lot of fishing villages, too.
I was actually just thinking that same thought. Thank you, Tom, for saying that out loud.
I guess they're channeling wind, which is funny because, again, weather is one of those things that people are so habitually bad at. And
I think that's in what they're and how it affects everything is how they're bad at it, quote unquote. If they were good at it, it wouldn't fuck everything up. They would just be traveling quickly.
It's probably a little easier for them to handle it on a river than out on the ocean.
Maybe, yeah.
You could be right. I mean, by definition, you're already going to be kind of pulling on those threads.
They're definitely not throwing weaves up into the sky like a fucking wind finder, though, right?
I didn't really think about this until you guys brought it up, and I was like, oh yeah, Elaine's blown away by what the sea folk do, but it seems like the Aes Sedai are kind of doing it right now after a fashion.
I mean, in a smaller, it has to be a smaller,
way different.
Yeah.
You have a north-south axis versus you're trying to, for a fucking river, you just tuck the shore. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'd forgotten really how useless these dreams. They start off ominous and portentous, but also completely useless, really, as far as what's in.
It's so much. There's a dude with eyes who are fire. Oh!
I think the key is that she's consistently dreaming. That's not just a normal dream. I think it's not that so much that she's dreaming something that's actually important or gathering all this information from the dream or anything. I think it's more just that she's dreaming shit that's not a normal dream. Ishmael being in her dreams is kind of a big deal. I love that he kind of laughs at her. Just look at you, little girl. You know what the fuck you're doing.
So timeline wise, this is actually behind some of the stuff we've read from Rand. And it's perfectly because at that point, when Rand gets his brand, he talks about the fact that I've seen this fucking girl from your village, you stupid, she's not gonna do shit. And then here she.
All right, but he's in the mirror shard world or whatever.
Yeah,
the portal stone world. So he's further in time already.
Yeah,
technically, I mean.
Yeah, I can't believe you're trying to do a timeline of this book.
Yeah, I forget.
Yeah,
Is this when she sees Lanfear definitely not shoving him into the portal stone?
I don't.
That happened
this
already.
Is when she sees that.
Yeah. Okay. My bad. Never mind.
I could be wrong.
You do apologize.
Did that happen already or not yet? I don't know.
I feel like it happened already because that's why she talked to the Nye about
Yeah, it already happened.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
No, Gus,
Okay,
you're right. It already happened because it was.
Because Ishii had the thing where he was like, that woman who thinks she protects you is not protecting you.
Is that Lanfear?
It's Ishii.
No.
That's balls.
Come on, Joe.
Yeah, no,
I was
Lanfear.
like,
Dude, you don't know my
Lanfear's
fucking...
count.
Okay, here's the thing. I have no more fun in our podcast than when I am doing like the sexy woman voice. Because the sexy woman voice is just, you get to do all this breathy, like my Barreline voice. I love my Barreline voice. It just goes like, oh, Rand. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were awake.
You're awakening things in Jono right now.
Yeah.
We're both so lonely here. It'd be a shame. It's
It's good. It's pretty good. I mean, I'm half aroused.
Unrelatedly, what's your mother's voice sound like?
which mother? There's a lot.
Don't do that. Just don't do it.
The answer is always the exact same.
So one of the things that we do on our podcast, Gus, with this reread is I listen to the old episodes, and I've said this to literally every single person that's come on the show recently, which is getting obnoxious, but I listen to the old episodes and kind of go over like what we talked about before. And I kind of last episode was like, I don't think I'm going to do that anymore if there's a guest on, but I have to because this one's important. So one of the very important things is that we have jokes that lasted till like the end of it, but we don't really remember where they came from. And just for Tom and Jono's sake, this is where Niniave was born, guys, which I did not know. So here's the thing that we don't remember about the Niniave joke. We remember the translation, but it was because, or rather the mispronunciation, but it was because I said something like they used a magic. I said they used magic, but it sounded like I said they used a magic, like Mario would say. And then Jono just immediately went, Niniave! And then I said something like, I guess she went to the Italian Harry Potter school. And I was like crying laughing because I don't remember where that came from. I just remember saying Niniave for 10 years. And it was very
It's me, Niniave.
They use the magic.
They use the magic. Anyway,
Fantastic.
that's all.
That's a better creation story than it ever could have been.
So I guess if I periodically interrupt our podcast with "This is what we said 10 years ago," now you understand why.
Oh, please do. Please
All right,
do.
go ahead.
You've got history. It's vital.
What else?
It's not.
All right, what else? What else do we have from this chapter?
I wrote I appreciate Swan's straightforwardness, basically, in terms of like her just rushing in there and being like, "Fuck you guys! I know Niniave's block. Like I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna piss her the fuck off." And like, but she's also shooting very straight and honestly with
Gonna
Queen.
piss her the fish off.
Mm.
Oh yeah,
There's no way. There's no way she said fuck. She said
I'll
fish.
trout you right out of this shit.
Also,
I'll
I
trout
have
you
a
right
question
out of
for you
this
guys.
carp.
She summons up some like disgusting bile and shoves it into Nynaeve's mouth as a punishment. Now, what the fuck is
Forgot
that?
about that.
And
That was-
explain that to me.
That was obviously fish oil for sure.
Yeah,
Oh, is that-
so
But like from
I wrote
what?
Pad and Fane come, so I was way off.
Pad and fake.
so the
No, he is in the surrounding chapters. That lines up.
Yeah.
it
It's
makes
this disgusting black goo that,
Yeah.
she shoves into her
We
mouth.
are the
and
firm belief.
then afterwards, she's like,
"You're
you're sworn to secrecy, Queen. Never speak of this again.
Don't mention it.
a handful of Pad and Fake.
Maybe
Here's the
she
thing.
scooped it up in the dungeon and kept it in her pocket when he escapes.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Swan, Nynaeve was like, well, fuck the power. Who needs the power when you can have a good-ass sword? And then Swan makes an air sword. Allie, at the time, first-time reader, jumps in and goes, wait a minute. You cannot make a weapon with the power. Swan made a sword. Oh, is she Black Aja? Obviously, no.
Interesting.
But it's a curious situation that Swan is able to make an air sword.
It's a really good
caveat.
Well,
well, the rule is that they can't make a power-wrought weapon.
Well, it's also
may not make a weapon.
They can't make a sword.
Well, no, it says it may not make a weapon with the power for one man to hurt another. So I think the caveat here is for one man to hurt another, because she makes it and then she dispels it.
Yes,
yeah, I think if you're not intending to use it as a weapon, it's not a weapon, because in theory anything could be a weapon.
That also explains.
That's true too. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, that makes sense. Like later on, we see that there's kind of like a whole line of like giant dildos that are Aes Sedai made, but they're not for men to hurt each other. They're for women to hurt men. They're kind of like shaped for giant rectums kind of thing.
What are you talking about? I don't really have anything to talk about other than they reach
do we want to
they meet Shariam. Do you guys
Shariam at all? Or, and also, again, in case you missed in the beginning, spoiler warning.
Just are they going to find a ginger Asian to play this character? Because it's very odd description.
As usual. So Gus, unfortunately, you have to hear what happens on the Joe does the lion's share of editing, which is pretty much always me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Before we go too far forward, so
like this right here, we're going to cut this.
Yeah.
So none of this will be in.
Here is very fascinating to me. Like I know that we already talk about like you, and you're very good kind of like what the fuck happened in this chapter. We talk about, she kind of pisses off Nynaeve enough to for Nini Ave to, throw her into the wall. But Jesus Christ, like she throws, like Nynaeve tosses her head first into wooden boards. Like if she had accidentally just killed her right there, that would have been a fascinating, or just stirred her brain a little bit. Really fascinating little piece of what the fuck could have happened.
That is an interesting idea. I don't think of how dangerous it was that what she did.
I don't think the pattern would have allowed that to happen, Jono.
All right, thanks, Tom. Glad you're here.
I love that cheat code of ta'veren.
All right. I mean, do we want to talk about Shariam at all? Is it interesting, or do we want to hit 19?
I mean, they just mean Shariam. There's really nothing to talk about.
Is this the first time we see her, though?
Yeah, I mean, super spoiler. Really? I'm still blown away by the end of her story.
Oh, my God.
Truly. Me too, yeah.
What was it, Crown of Swords, where she gets spanked by a Myrddraal?
No,
because
later.
Jordan. Nephedreans?
I want to say it's 8.
It's kind of shocking. Right. Cylons are everywhere.
It's definitely during the whole...
Oh, can we talk about Galactica? Because, thank you for letting me talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
Wait.
I mean, you and I can. I don't know if Tom even meant to say that. Also, Jono has no idea.
Of course I meant to say that. I've seen it.
I've seen a few episodes.
You should watch that, Jono.
What the fuck are you doing? Get off the call and go watch Galactica. What are you doing? It's the best story ever.
Jono just watched Star Wars like 5 years ago.
What? Go watch Galactica.
All right.
Go.
Chapter 19.
All right, chapter 19.
Oh, real quick. One thing that's important is
son of a bitch.
Here we go.
Every fucking time.
Shariam mentions that there's 40 novices right now in her class, and only 8 that will actually make it to accepted. And that includes...
And only how many?
8 or 9.
Okay.
So
one of the things that I'm pissed that I didn't do this, but thank you, Jono, for calling this out. But I've been talking to Tom about this, but I was like, one of the things that I can't stand about this series, it is a very small caveat, is that the numbers never just jive. Like nothing makes sense.
No.
I'm going to make a point to keep track of how many Aes Sedai there are, how many Aiel there are, how many Shido there are. Well, also Aiel.
Yeah.
But also how many Ashman there are. Because I feel like every book they're just like, there's only a handful of us left. And I'm like, I feel like they just said there was 500 of them.
Big hands.
Ashman is not a thing.
We have to move on. We've gone over the Shido thing so many times, and I'm going to go crazy.
All right, go ahead.
I won't talk about the Shido.
All right, so chapter 19, Beneath the Dagger. It's a Rand perspective, and Gus,
Beneath
take it
the
away.
Dagger, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Beneath the Dagger.
All right, Beneath the Dagger. Rand chilling out. 4-person party. Rand, Loyal, Huron, who I missed Huron so much, y'all. So, just let me butt in for a second. Getting no Huron between Great Hunt and Memory of Light, Oh my God, what a fucking devastating thing. Joylyn Sandar is discount Huron. I said it. So.
Agreed.
I mean, that's true. Because
Rand, loyal, Huron, and totally not lanfear. We're chilling. Rand is lying around thinking about some shit. How Selene has a nice butt and he wants to touch it, but he's not gonna because of Gwen. Because we're still pre-Fires of Heaven. And we're gonna lean into that because Rand is a fucking prudy bitch. Allie agrees with me. He's a prudy bitch. Overwhelming. Power overwhelming. So he gets goosebumps. Wow. Those of us who have read the series all the way through don't know what that means. And all of a sudden, he rolls over. What? My saddlebags aren't next to me anymore. They're over by Selene? What?
Beyond?
Oh, man. Nothing to read into there. She's looking at my shit. Selene goes, oh, hi, Rand. Are you awake? I haven't changed my shirt in a long time. I'm going to do that. Do you have like a shirt? Because I totally don't. Because I just fell into this fucking weird portal stone bullshit world full of frog bears all of a sudden and didn't prepare at all. And I'm also like really weirdly okay with that. Why is she so okay with that? I don't know, but whatever.
Oh, she's one of the Forsaken, dude. Do you not read?
I know she's. Listen, I'm
just kidding. I'm just kidding. Go on.
Rand's perspective. She's like, "Oh, frog bears, and you saved my life. Oh no." Selene, is still locked into that really fucking unbelievably prudish Andoran viewpoint of, well, you cannot think of one in a manner that is at all sexual until such time as...
I've never talked to Robert Jordan about this because I never had the pleasure, but I've talked to Harriet about it a lot, and she always used to say that she was a big proponent of that aspect of the series continuing forward, as in like to make it interesting, even when someone has like an open blouse or something like that. Like instead of overly sexualizing everything and you have to get to the point where they're fucking on screen kind of thing, like making it very prudish. So like when just the slightest thing happens, you can
because once Ross and Rachel
create
get together,
those emotions, those same emotions. Yeah,
exactly. Once Ross and Rachel get together, it doesn't matter anymore, and then you have just 6 seasons of nonsense because Friends sucks. But
all right, let's get back to the recap. For God's sake.
All right, tell us more about the recap. Where would we leave off?
Selene is like, I haven't changed my shirt in so long. Do you have a shirt that I could use? And Rand is like, yes, let me turn around for like 25 minutes. And
let me dig in my saddlebags and not pull out the dragon banner.
Let me not think about the fact that I have euphemism. Let me not think about the fact that I have some really relevant shit to who I am because it's not
like a KKK hood in the middle of like people who would not be empathetic to that at all. It's kind of a weird thing to carry around.
But like instead of being, unabashedly evil, it's explicitly proclaiming his allegiances. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't want to talk about that. So Selene, who is definitely not lanfear and totally not sus, is asking for a shirt. He throws her a shirt. He turns around for a while. She changes and goes, "Hey, baby, you can look at me now." And he turns around. Did I mention I'm a voice actor? Anyway, he turns around.
Oh, you did?
And she's wearing what Allie described as a peasant blouse, which is just a guy's shirt being worn as though it were a full outfit. And Rand is like, "Oh, don't look at that. Don't."
That sounds like that's a jump shot right there.
It really is for Rand because he has no concept of pleasure or feminine pleasure, either or. Jesus, really, man. Yeah. I mean, he is as separated from that as he can possibly be. So Rand is trying not to look at the fact that Selene is lanfear. Is basically like, oh, wow, it sure would be a shame if you hiked my dress up a quarter of an inch. And all of a sudden, thank God for the prudes, Huron rolls up. Holy shit, my Lord Dragon. Oh, something to look away from the tits. Oh, my God, what is it? There's some Trollocs. Where are they? They're out there. They're not where the tits are. The Trollocs are not the tits. The tits are not the Trollocs. Thank God. Rand could not be more pleased that he has an opportunity to look away from the tits. He does not have to betray Egwene. Because at this point, his primary fucking function, the only thing he could give a fuck about, the only thing that occupies his thoughts is that he is not betraying the one and only Egwene, who spent like 7 chapters dancing with Aram and not giving a fuck about Rand. There's a lot to get into there, but I'm not.
Yeah.
It's nuance. We don't have time for nuance today. With these tits put out of his mind firmly, decides, well, shit. There's Trollocs. Those Trollocs might have the Horn of Valyr and equally as importantly, perhaps more importantly, the dagger that is keeping my friend alive. I better get on that shit. And I'm going to be upfront with y'all right now. I don't remember where these chapters end, so please stop me when I get to the end of this chapter. But Rand...
I can give you the end. They steal the horn.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Rand decides, fuck, I better get down to business to defeat the Huns. And everyone wakes up because there's some shit. Selene says, oh, well, you could take me, but I'd be of no help. Titty shirt, boobies. You should take the Allende. Rand goes, I don't know what that means, but you pointed at Loyal. I'm going to take Loyal because you pointed at Loyal when you said that. Huron stays behind to make sure that Selene's titties don't die. I don't know.
They pop out.
Yeah, that's the key. He and Loyal run off towards the Trollocs. And as they're in hot pursuit, he goes, Loyal, Allende, what is that? And Loyal goes, oh, well, that's old tongue for some shit that I don't remember right now because I'm inebriated, but the long and the short of it is tree, brother. And it's some old tongue stuff for Ogier. Why does she know old tongue stuff? We don't have time for that.
She's very well read.
We have shit to do. She's Kyrianan. Clearly the Kyrianan know what's up. The Kyrianan are just well studied. It has nothing to do with her actually being a secret fucking Forsaken. But whatever, it's all good. Rand doesn't know shit. There's some Trollocs in a camp. Get to them. Their watch? They're sleeping. Trollocs. What else is new? They can't do shit right. We sneak in. Actually, before we sneak in, Loyal is like, oh, there's some Trollocs. We can come back later because they're bad at things. Rand says, fuck your shit. Let's just get it now. They sneak in. They army crawl right through the shit. There's a bunch of Trollocs. There's Padden Fane. Who cares? Padden Fane's asleep. Padden Fane could give a fuck because he's asleep. Why is he asleep? Because Rand's holding the void. Why is Rand holding the void? Because he thinks it makes him better at stuff. Does it make him better at stuff? Yes. Is it also a shortcut to channeling? Yes. Wow. Super fucking convenient. But it's book 2, so I'll let that slide. Rand gets the dagger. Rand gets the chest. Loyal is pressed. Loyal doesn't want this to be happening. Loyal goes with it because Loyal trusts Rand because Loyal is motherfucking best boy in the shit. And we cannot deny that. Loyal picks up the chest. Rand doesn't really touch the dagger because, Shatter Logoth and Mashadar and all that fucking bullshit that we don't want to really acknowledge being some serious shit. He stuffs the dagger in the chest. Loyal starts sneaking out. They found a Trolloc. The Trolloc jumps at them. They kill it. Rand goes beast mode. They kill all the Trollocs. I could go into details, but there's really not a lot of point in me going into detail here because it's basically boiling down to Rand kills all the Trollocs and they escape safely.
That's
all right.
That's good. That's good. Gus, phenomenal job.
It's going extremely well. So what do I want to hit here besides titties? I think we feel like we hit the titties.
There's a lot of titties. I mean, she really... That's her MO. Her MO is titties.
Gus, I think we've learned a lot about you. And, I don't know your fiance, but it's not just titties here. I mean, I feel like you're missing the fact that she's got very nice legs that's happening here.
That's the whole package, but the titties are...
Yeah, it's the whole package, yeah. If I were your...
There's no way Lanfear took the time to lace up that front of that blouse.
The title of our episode about this chapter is the metal chest.
Yeah.
With metal in italics.
I honestly can't stop thinking about how we talked about how Celine is a less attractive version of Lanfear. Like she was the girl in the high school movie that takes off her glasses. You're
right.
actually
We did make that joke last week. We made the joke last week, Gus, that Lanfear's like the hot girl that has glasses on, and then at the end of the teenage movie, she like takes her glasses off and gets a makeover, and she's like, "She's beautiful."
Beautiful. That's
Celine is like technically not as good looking as Lanfear. We're just like,
she's only a 10.5 versus an 11 out of 10.
Yeah, it's still somehow the hottest woman that ever lived or something.
Lines up.
It is a pretty straightforward chapter. It's just
I'm going to talk about a few details of what was going on. First of all, 10 years ago, Gus, you're wrong. He doesn't put it into the chest right away, the dagger. He tucks it behind his belt.
Oh, first. Right. He puts it in his butt.
He puts it in there later. However, Jono goes that I wrote that dagger made us super nervous just talking about our old show, and then Jono said his rectum must be super angry just because it was tucked into his back pocket. And then we went off on a relatively large tangent about how only his asshole was tainted by Shatter Logoth. Maybe he took a shit. It was an angry shit. Apparently, here's the thing, guys. Our recollection of our old episodes is that like around 8 or so, we hit our like stride, so to speak, and it was kind of like that's who we were. But apparently, it was 6 because we're crushing it out in this episode.
He had so many polyps by 19 years old. Poor Rand. Poor Rand. Yeah.
Anyway, Jono, what were you gonna say?
So, like, one of the things that it kind of struck me is actually not even funny, really, is this kind of, it's almost revisionist history here, is he's kind of thinking to himself, like, how he had, like, I was happy then, when he's thinking about the...
when he was traveling with the fleet.
Yeah, and I'm just like, are you fucking serious? Like, you spent, like, literally every night in the, like, sleeping in a fucking...
well, he was okay, but like, Matt wasn't great.
Nobody remembers the bad
How are you
times.
happy living with someone who's literally like a walking STD of paranoia? It's not even STD.
I think his point was that this stress is more stressful than that stress, and that almost seems like happier times. I don't think he's like, it was a great day. I think he was like, wow, I almost wish that was what
I was happier than. So, you know what? Also, you know what you're happier than? Any other time in your life than when you're fucking trying to grab this thing from like.
That's a good point. He might as well have said like, I was happier when I was just living back on my farm, hanging out with Tam, reading a book every night.
Or he could have just said, I'm unhappy now. Because now is pretty much the nadir of your life. Like
getting your arm amputated and then you're like thinking back to that time you shot yourself with a nail gun in the foot. when you're working on your garage. I'm like, I was happier then.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
on the note of Tam, I do like how, at the very least, just in terms of like buying this as a reader, he does like think of Tam and like how they used to like sneak up on deer or whatever the fuck, or game in the wild. And I'm just like, I know it's
Human
like
deer?
a throwaway thought, but it's just like, I like the idea that he's like,
That
because
good.
it's kind of ridiculous that he sneaks into camp and takes the horn and like, but
he's
just
still
calling
Rand.
back to like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
he's
just
still
calling
Two
back
Rivers
to
Rand.
Exactly. Yeah. And I just like the callback to like, hey guys, I can sneak around. I'm not an idiot, kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, I like that.
I don't know that before this Robert Jordan ever gave us a memo where Rand was capable of sneaking around. The one time we saw him walking through the woods, it was noisy as shit.
Yeah. Well, I think we think about Nynaeve being able to sneak up on Lan, which is what gives Lan a boner.
Yeah.
And we think of Nynaeve as being able to sneak, and we think of Nynaeve as a piece that is particularly good at sneaking. Nynaeve, that is, of the Two Rivers folk.
Yeah, but is she that much more advanced? Yeah.
I often think of Nynaeve as a piece.
Yeah, a piece, yeah.
Same piece of ass. It's disgusting. I've got a few more things, but
I wrote
will
they took
turn it
the
over.
horn and Fane jerks erect.
He does.
People jerk erect nonstop.
He does it.
Did I miss that?
No, he
Chunk?
doesn't actually say that. He doesn't actually say that, but he does do that.
I missed that bit.
Talking about the fight, it is.
Ooh,
I mean, not to go into like fight after fight or like this is amazing, this is amazing, this is amazing. And then he cut him with a sword, but it's fucking amazing.
I think that's the first time we see Rand be like pretty.
It is, yeah, and that's kind of that's the point I was going to bring up. It's kind of like the first time that he's just like, oh, I'm cutting through Trollocs. I mean, even in Faldara when the attack happened, he was like basically hiding from Trollocs. Yeah,
yeah, he was like, I guess I'm going to fight this Mirtroll. Fuck.
Neglected
yeah.
But what
neglected
this
that
is just
portion.
him like
he's embracing
cutting
the
shit
source.
down.
He's embracing the source pretty fully. And
Is he embracing the source? I thought he was just in the void.
He is, because
The source is on the edge, I thought.
Well, maybe that's good enough. But the point is, he's in the void, which is where we see that Peyton Fane can't find him once he assumes the void.
And that's a key point to this chapter as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rand is good with the sword.
I completely forgot.
Yeah.
If I may cut in here, I totally forgot to recap the portions where Peyton Fane is.
Oh yeah, Fane does kind of like wake up and yell and like get them.
But that's important because he gets a paragraph and a half at least as the perspective character, and he yells about how I will not let him be freed of me. I will not let him run from me.
I'm not the dog anymore.
Yeah, it's extraordinarily important to Fane to not be a fucking hunting dog, and he had this look, and all of a sudden it's over.
Yeah,
I feel him, and I am not anyone else's dog. I am not under the service of anyone else that I can feel him, and that's really our first perspective, where we get Peyton Fane not as simply a dark friend, but as some kind of third person. Full spoilers.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Peyton Fane as Mashadar, and also whatever the fuck he's called in A Memory of Light, where he is, like the third party Dark One, where if Rand killed the Dark One, he would become the new Dark One. This is really
that's
kind of the only moment. Yeah, this is really the moment where we get Peyton Fane as the thing that would have become the new nexus of evil.
I'm glad to hear somebody else say that.
I think a real key here that we never talk about, or never, I mean, it's so subtle, but it never gets discussed. But like Rand in the Portal Stone world was like, it's so weird. I started thinking them as Fane's Trollocs, Fane's Dark Friends, Fane's, Fane's bad guys.
Exactly correct.
And then, but this is confirmation of that weird feeling that he was having, or the weird thought process he was having of thinking of Fane as the big bad. And then you get to this point, and he sneaks up to the chest, and the only person around it is Fane. He doesn't know it at the time it's Fane, but he knows there's a single human being sleeping next to the chest of the dagger. He takes that shit. Fane leaps up and starts screaming. He knows it's Fane. He hears Fane's voice, and he goes, it's almost confirmation that what he was feeling and thinking before was true. they don't even discuss it in the chapter, let alone that we've ever discussed it. But it's like, it's kind of an interesting confirmation of what Rand was already feeling and thinking.
Agreed.
As a reader, but I mean, you know,
and that's actually
kind of an interesting point.
Very important. It really is, because it makes him kind of understandably attach concern to that character. Attach.
You're right. Yes.
People talk a lot about how Sanderson did not give Paddon Fane appropriate conclusion. People lean into that, but
raising my hand here.
I don't know if that was his choice.
Yeah,
I agree.
I don't know what it was either.
I really like the ideas that Paddon Fane was sort of a surrogate dark one.
Yeah.
Paddon Fane was really what would have become the Dark One if Rand had made a different choice.
I think our general thought.
Tom, you can explain our thoughts, but we've had this thought before as well.
Yeah,
go ahead.
He would, Rand would quote unquote kill the Dark One, and they would have no way to deal with Fane, so they would, seal him away, and then
bury him, seal him, and then
thousands upon thousands of years from now, he's back.
Because he's a quote unquote the whole idea behind that is he's a new evil, so to speak. Like, he's not the Dark One, he's not Shadow Logoth, he's not anything anymore. He's just this amalgamation of all this fucking evil and Mashinar.
He's two parts evil that the Dark One's afraid of somehow.
Yeah, exactly. But he's also Dark One evil. So he's got Dark One evil in him, and he's got this other shit, and he's got this other shit, and it's all mashed together, and he's new fucking thing.
He's a synthesis of evil.
Of it's like, it makes so much sense to make him the new thing that comes later, if time is a wheel. Meaning
or at least hint at it.
We bury him down, and then thousands and thousands of years later, he breaks free, blah blah blah. Yeah. Anyway,
Well, if
when we get to the end of the series, and that's not the case. You're just kind of that seems kind of.
Let's have Gus back for the death of Paddon Fane.
Sure.
Hey, bring me in.
How do you guys feel about the end of the books if Rand is fighting the Dark One and then it breaks some magic spell and it turns out the Dark One's not the Dark One, but he's just some old fucking peddler?
Knew it.
Anyway, let's wrap this chapter up.
Let's wrap the chapter up.
They get the dagger and the horn, and they get back to everybody.
So
Oil keeps up with the horses I wrote. That's important.
Yeah, thank God. We have a very interesting question here that I think that Gus was trying to ask. When we're talking about lanfear, is she channeling air on herself to look extra hot, or is she using the mask of mirrors? Because she's wearing just Rand's shirt.
You mean is there a subtle breeze wafting her hair up and rippling the shirt?
Well, Rand says.
You think Lanfear remembers that Marilyn Monroe thing from the first age?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think Lanfear is real hot.
Oh, good enough.
I think she has to try.
Well,
so I think she just. I don't think she has to Mirrors of Mist herself.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
She's just channeling some air around herself to make it look extra tight.
She's just accentuating things.
Yeah. She's smoothing down her face, and
I like that. Yeah.
Because in Shadow Rising, when we get to the stone stands and we meet Lanfear as Lanfear, we get some stuff that's just Selene, but without any kind of filter.
Yeah.
And I think Selene without filter is just Selene, but younger. So it's just Selene with...
Yeah.
What's the Instagram thing? Facetune?
It's just she's got a filter on. Yeah.
It's just
Lanfear with a young filter on.
Yeah, it's filtered Lanfear.
What's funny is Tom and I used to use underage filter, and Tom still looked 35.
Listen, I really think
that's not the question here. Tom, just call it Tom.
I got a train going by. So somebody introduce chapter.
All right, let's finish this real quick. Last thing that's important to this chapter. The only thing that matters to me left here, besides the insanity as Paddon Fane to finish the chapter, is there are some good Robert Jordan quintessential sword form jokes.
Oh, plenty.
So Gus I don't know.
Jono, cat dances on the wall. What is that?
Where's cat dancing on the wall? I
think that's when you sit on a wall and get your vagina licked.
Okay. Courtier taps the fan. Jono, go.
Oh, clearly coming. The fan is the pussy, and you're gonna just tap it just briefly. Oh,
I thought the fan was the dick, and you tap it on your face.
Yeah, Courtier taps the fan.
Next. All right, what's the next one?
Lizard in a thorn bush.
Oh, clearly those are some dense pubes. And
yeah, I was gonna say,
yeah.
That girl hasn't shaved in a long time. Maybe nobody's shaved in a long time. Also, that guy's dick is really, really dry.
It's really thin.
Talking about dry dick, cat on hot
shaving
sand.
Overrated. Who needs
cat
it?
on the hot sand? That is unfortunate. That's kind of like some chick you know who used to be wet, and then all of a sudden just kind of like you fucked up, and she's just not in for you.
Last one, heron spreads its wings.
Oh,
that's obvious. Yeah.
Listen, we all know what heron spreads his wings can be.
Sure.
I think it's better to leave that as a what could be than a what is.
All right, I like that. Chapter 20.
All right, chapter 20.
Sardine.
You roll around.
Sardine.
Roll through the real world.
I just killed Joe.
Of dreams. We're out of the bullshit Portal Stone garbage. We're going to come to a town called Tremoncine, or Tremoncien, if you prefer. There's a statue. Big goddamn statue outside of Tremoncien. What is this statue? I'm sure you'll all be shocked. It's a big fucking dude with a big fucking beard.
Yeah.
Now, wow. Oh, hey. Choi Dan Kal. I know what this is. I have books worth of weight and relevance and importance and shit that I care about. But as a new reader, as someone who has not read The Wheel of Time before, oh yeah, whatever, it's a big statue, whatever. Rand doesn't only give a fuck, he gives a lot of fucks. He gives oodles of fucks. He's drowning. He's drowning in fucks that he gives. Now, Celine is like, oh, don't pay attention to that noise. Who cares about that noise? Let's ignore that. Let's just...
You don't need to hear about that here.
Yeah, it's nothing. Let's just fucking walk away. No. Rand, the Dragon Reborn, has feelings. He's not... He's not really feeling the whole, like, ignore that shit. He's really feeling that maybe we should pay attention to this thing because there's a big dude with a beard and people are, digging it out. So they roll
digging out the big dude.
Gotta dig out the big dude. You really gotta dig it out. Just dig that shit. Dig it. And Lanfear, who is totally, Celine, who is totally not Lanfear, who is totally not Celine. That's a different thing entirely. Is just like, oh my God. Hey, y'all, let's not talk about this. Let's pretend this is not fucking happening. And get away from this noise. And he keeps on keeping on looking at this weird excavation-y thing. What could this be? Oh, it's a giant dude holding up a giant fucking crystal ball. What could that be? I don't know. Lanfear knows. I mean, that this is some shit that we should not be fucking around with because you'll fucking destroy everything. Anyway.
And then they get to the end.
Yeah, that's the
Rand
chapter.
Is like,
actually, how weird would that be to just watched, like, if you were with a group of friends and one of them just walked over to a pit and was just like staring at it for 5 minutes, you're like, what's going on with that guy? He just screamed gay at the top of his lungs.
Oh,
That's the thing. I totally forgot about that because Rand just looks at it for like half a chapter and then screams day.
It makes me think about in book 4 when Nynaeve's thinking about if anybody walked in to saw her and Mokidian fighting, they'd just be like staring at each other like really mad.
because all they do is just mutter at each other and sweat. Like that's all that happens.
Oh, Nynaeve versus Magedian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be
Oh
like,
my God, I cannot wait until we get to that because I love that fucking part so much.
Back to this chapter.
yes. It's a super short chapter.
It is. Tom, 10 years ago, I said, Rand's a 5-year-old with a detonator to a nuke, which is why Celine's so worried. And then you said a 5-year-old that she wants to fuck, which I thought was hilarious.
Listen, she does. Wait, hold on.
Maybe we should just re-air the old episodes.
She doesn't want to fuck the 5-year-old. I can't really go into
Wants
this
the
metaphor.
5-year-old to
This
fuck
is a
her.
problematic
No.
metaphor.
Gus, you're right. She wants the 5-year-old to fuck her, not the other way around.
There you go.
That way. Yeah. No, we've all had that. You've had that situation.
She wants the 5-year-old to fuck her with a giant Choden cow.
Yeah.
But not until he's ready, huh?
Winter's Heart.
Not until he's ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a crazy chapter about him
I will
almost
say
succumbing to the ecstasy, I guess, or like whatever is happening. Like he's almost like absorbed into what's going on and
It's weird.
barely pulls himself back from the brink.
It's
Did we
weird.
talk about it last time? I don't remember really thinking about how weird it is that he actually talks about how like he wants to like almost like look into himself, and he actually channels his own Aiel ancestry. And like
Yeah, I mean, all we said about that last time, Jono, was just like, I said something along the lines of like, where's this Aiel shit coming from?
It's
and
so
Tom said, I don't
weird.
know, but it's awesome. And that was kind of like all we said, and we moved on. But I don't, that still stands out to me. It's like, why? It's not like he
reaches
identify as
core of
Aiel.
who he is. Like how the fuck does that happen? Like,
Well, here's the thing. Loyal has told him those lines. Like he has said
he's heard that quote
to
before,
him
right?
out loud. So it's not like
has
he's
he
never
ever
heard it
said he
before.
touched stone, hot pitiless stone, cold from a merciless night? That's
crazy.
the night
all
and
that
the
shit's crazy.
day. Like that's way beyond like anything that he's ever felt. I guess like that is the a night and a day in Aiel ways. Like, that's like, clearly he's fucking touching something, which obviously is himself.
I think what's
I'll go to
A lobby.
So, any more on this subject?
Not the Choden Cal in general. No.
All right. So I've got
can I
Go
just
ahead,
jump in?
other people ever. No. I think Gus, you got something to say.
Go ahead, Gus.
The thing that gets Rand out of this that I don't know why this matters on a reread, but it does, is that Rand goes into this with no knowledge of himself or what matters, only knowing that he is an Aiel, only knowing his own identity. He gets through it by repeating the Aiel catechism, for lack of a better term. And for some reason, that breaks it. And I have no idea why that breaks it. But according to Loyal and Lanfear and Huron, who are there, the thing that works for him to get out of it is going day.
Maybe he came.
Maybe he did. I mean, I feel like Rand would say that.
Yeah.
Because Rand knows what's up. And sorry, hold on. I dropped my phone because I was, Okay.
Don't crack the screen.
It's kind of an interesting segue.
You would not be very good.
I got really excited. I threw my phone on the ground. Has a cracked screen, by the way.
Hey, Gus, real quick, do not put yourself at the edge of a giant excavation set because you would be.
I would never do that.
It's not for you, man.
Hey, if you do, just scream day at the top of your lungs and get the fuck out of there.
Right before you fall off.
Jono, do you have anything else for this chapter?
Gus is still talking.
No, I'm done.
Oh, all right, well, you dropped that out. The only thing I've got left really is it's a throwaway, unnecessary line, but it's our first time that we go to a Kirkin real village of Tremonson. And of course, it's straight lines, but it doesn't. The inn they go to is pure Jordan for the simple fact that Jordan always wanted to channel, like from the beginning, he always wanted to do it. Channeling like Lord of the Rings. So it's called the Nine Rings.
Oh, yeah.
So that's clear callback, which, by the way, I have no problem with callback as long as it's just where you start.
It's just a nice homage. It's not like he's like smashing it in the face.
Yeah, it's not like there's
not like the first book, you mean?
Guys?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Can I?
Third?
Well, do you think the Nine Rods of Dominion are like in reference to that?
Yes. Can I jump in?
Yes. Yeah, talk about the dildos. Yeah.
All right. So, Tremoncien, that's where the male Chodankal is. Tremalking is where the female Chodankal is.
Okay.
Yes.
Tremoncien, Tremalking. There is nothing. I looked this up when I was doing my reread. There is nothing comparing Tremoncien and Tremalking.
That's interesting.
I don't know why that has not been the fucking subject of essays worth of shit.
Should be.
Seems like the only thing. Seems like that could be
the
your
only thing I would say.
Yeah, congrats. We're happy to give you
the only thing I would say is that the way he names things, places, and people, and references things is in the sense of like it was one name a long time ago. It turned into this. It turned into that. He's always 10 steps removed from what it was originally called. So maybe those placements of those statues mattered, or maybe they were named something for a reason.
Well, and something that might make a little bit of sense.
Was called Tremal something, and then and blah blah blah. Thousands of years later, it's Tremal King. Same with this town.
If those two statues were next to each other before the breaking, then the naming can
mattered and has
because the world broke apart. Now they're far apart.
Still there, and that's probably all it was. It's probably just a throwaway, like they're connected, but that's it. Kind of thing.
Tremoncien used to be in Tremalking before the world broke.
I would disagree. I think Gus is onto something very interesting, and maybe it's worth actually writing to to someone like Maria. I don't know if Gus, have you ever met Maria?
No.
So why don't you just text her?
Yeah, writing is a quotation.
Oh yeah, we could just text her.
I texted her when Jeopardy started on Monday because it's the new season of Jeopardy. So Maria is one of the continuity editors. Like Maria Simmons has been the editor besides Harriet, obviously.
Yeah.
What is it all the way from the beginning, Joe? I can't remember, but either way, so she is.
We just talked to her about this like a month ago.
Not.
I don't know. You guys got drunk and so did I. Or I got drunk and maybe you didn't. Fucking, I don't care. Anyway, the point is, Maria.
Well, you can go back on YouTube and watch our talk with Maria on our podcast. It's on inaugural episode.
Sponsored by YouTube. No, we're not. Anyway, so we can talk to her because I've never really thought that way as far as like Tremal. That's fucking brilliant to me. And what's the second part is that doesn't matter because Joe wants me to hurry the fuck up is think about what Malkier, Tremalking. Like there's that MAL that probably is Old Tongue. So there may be some sort of relevance in the naming convention. Like, and maybe there's not, maybe there is, but I'd be fast. Maybe like Maltse versus Malkier is ironically, man versus woman. Where MAL.
That's kind of what I was thinking, actually. But
yeah,
on that note, the original naming of it is what I think Gus is referring to as in there should have been essays written about it.
Oh,
All
no,
I'm saying is
his point
that
is the fact that the Trey should have had an essay.
Tremontian, yeah.
Yeah, they have the same.
it's a very interesting correlation that I never put together. So thank you, Gus.
Thank you very much, Gus. Fuck yeah, dude.
It's the thing is, I looked this up. When we did our episode, I don't know when it was, but we did our episode about this part in Great Hunt about this chapter, and I went, oh, wait a minute, Tremontian. We knew that this was somehow relevant to the greater, shit of the Great Hunt and the mythos. This must be relevant because they both start with Trem, and Jordan is not a hack.
I guess that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's a hack. I'm just saying like there are things that he alludes to being connected that's so loosely connected in terms of what we know now.
Right.
And I'm sure he knows the 10 steps that it took to get from whatever the fuck it was called to Tremalking and so on.
Right.
But like, it's not necessarily important. It's just that they're sort of connected.
Well, you know especially what I mean? When you consider, he talks about, I'm getting way the fuck ahead of myself here.
Okay.
But he talks
alcohol is bad for you, but great for us.
Yeah, well, sure.
That's also true.
I fucking love it, Gus. I love it. I really love it. Keep going.
He talks about the Amayar. And this is something that when I was reading the series the first time, he really, really leaned into as something that devastated or upset him, as something that did not upset the fandom. Which
Do you
was
remember
that
the quote?
Oh God, the Amayar, but it was something.
Like you said, it upset him very much that it didn't upset more people.
Mm-hmm.
He said it kind of. Hey, one of the repercussions of what happened after the cleansing of the source. This is after book 9. Spoiler. Yeah. Like he said that, like what happens at book 9 has massive repercussions. If you don't feel that way, you're kind of fucked. And the answer is, as you said, the Amayar kill themselves en masse. Mm-hmm. Realistically, as far as the plot of the book, other than for the Shanchan, really doesn't affect anything, and therefore you don't really think of it. And to Jordan's thought, he said, what the fuck is wrong with you? An entire society just killed itself.
Yeah. I remember that, Jono.
Gus, just to give the teeth to it, Gus is entirely correct. That's what really fucked him up, and almost like as a writer at least.
Yeah, there's more to certain things that he thought would have weight, and then when he wrote them and people read them, he was like, "What the fuck? Yeah. You didn't see how incredible that is? That people were just killing themselves because of Jordan Catapult?"
Sorry, Gus. I interrupted you, Gus. You go on.
No. Well, I mean, Jordan was writing from the perspective of an entire world, so you are welcome to interrupt. Because Allie and I are writing Allie and I both are artists, and we both are writing from the perspective of storytellers, and we both are writing from the perspective of people who are trying to tell a greater story. And the Amayar destroying themselves from the perspective of a greater storytelling
prophecy zone.
Oh God, I've gotten so far out of where I'm talking about right now, but the Amayar telling destroy. This
He's
wine bottle.
Yeah.
Good man.
The Amayar killing themselves from the perspective of the statue on Tremontian being molten from the end of book 9, zooming back to the end of book 8, 4, 3, 2. Oh my God. We look at this thing, this physical artifact that matters.
Yeah.
And we look at Rand's conception of this physical artifact that matters in book 2 because he looks at it for a whole fucking chapter and then screams day as loud as he possibly can. Yeah. We cannot not consider his perspective on this thing, even if it's a paired element of a larger thing. Rand, as the Dragon Reborn, who is someone who affects... We have to presume if this is a thing of the power being a binary element, there must be something in the power that is of the opposite element, because it's 90s gender concept, and there is an opposite gender thing. We look at the opposite gender binary of the thing.
Yeah, and you have a conclusion. Yeah.
Yeah, there must de facto be a opposite element of it. There must be two elements of this gender binary, because Jordan and men magic, women magic. There must be something that is responding to Rand's looking at this element of magic and screaming day that responds to it.
So re-summarize that. Like you're saying that there's something that's almost kind of responding. Like if Choden, like there were different names. If Choden Cal male versus Choden Cal female, like are they responding to his kind of dealing with it?
If Rand is screaming, if Rand is screaming at male Choden Call, day, there must be female Choden Call, with the understanding that contemporary understanding of gender is non-binary. I
don't know if I agree with that to a certain extent, because while it seems a very binary setting,
mm-hmm.
the fact is that men lose the ability to channel without having the taint on it. So it's not 100% binary. And like people who are little, like I don't think that Jordan was looking to be very,
No. Well, Jordan was also writing in
in the 90s.
Yeah. So okay.
I
So
get that.
no, I right. So with the understanding that Jordan was looking at this when he was looking at this, you've got Rand looking at the Choden Call and the woman version that is not paying attention to this at all, because he's not screaming at that version. We result in the version whereby lanfear is like, whoa, okay, great. We got out of that noise without you doing anything.
Yeah, right.
Let's move forward.
Okay.
That's where we're at.
Reaction to anything, though. Like she just saw that. She just saw.
Jono, we need to get back to chapter 20.
All right. So my last thing I would say, and Gus can talk one more time, because we don't want to go back and forth, but he's the guest, so he gets to have the last rebuttal. But my thought would be that, like, no matter what the fuck he did with this thing, she's going to be scared shitless, because if Rand even channels 1/10th of it, 1/100th, 1,000th of it, he becomes instantly stronger than she's ever been, with the exception of if she ever held a Sangreal.
Here's the thing: you can't channel that thing without a key, though. So, like, why does she? Why is she worried at all? So, I would say that she's only worried that somehow he'll get like sucked in.
Here's what I would say. I think.
No, I don't think you can channel it at all, Jono.
We know nothing about Terangriel and Sangreal of the Choden Call, right?
Yeah.
At this point, we know dick shit.
The only thing we know at the end of the series is that you need one of those fucking keys to channel through them at all. So why is she worried? So she's either worried because she has more knowledge, or she's worried because him just getting like sucked into that would make him draw in more of the power than he's capable of handling, and then therefore burn himself out, or who the fuck knows, or whatever her ultimate goal is.
I mean, I guess you are correct.
I think she's more worried about him just channeling more than he can handle in a given moment in time.
You're probably
than like possibly channeling through the Choden Cow.
You're probably correct. Why does, like, besides, there's many reasons, but why specifically does lanfear fear being in a shitty town like Tremoncian? Like, where she wants to go, avoid it, and as soon as it's been the night, then it leaves.
10 years ago, Jono, we did not have an answer. I think my only answer, even to this day, is that, and this is the loosest reason imaginable, is that as they approach Carhian, she's more and more likely to be found out in the lie that she is a Carhian noble. And I think that's literally all that is. Like, why she would care, and like why, like a million reasons of like what the fuck, who gives a shit on her end is who the fuck knows. But at the time, I think it's just her wanting to live within the lie that she is a Carhian noble, and slowly going to be found out that that is not the case.
Gus, your thoughts?
I mean, she literally cuts off in the next chapter, which we will get to. She literally cuts somebody off and like causes something to avoid even answering like where she's from and like.
Oh, dude, no. Lanfear just doesn't want to talk about any history shit because Rand is a fucking bumblefuck. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't know shit. And
let's get on to chapter 21, Jono.
It's called The Nine Rings, and it's a Rand perspective, and Gus will give us his breakdown right now.
Rand perspective, 9 rings. Where are their 9 rings? 9 rings of men. The fucking ring rates. Okay, yeah, we know. We fucking know. Rand loves this story. He's heard about Frodo. He's heard about Perrin. He's heard about not Perrin, Pippin. He's heard about everyone. I do that a lot. He's heard about the whole fucking Lord of the Rings. Who gives a shit? He wakes up. There's some folks. There's a guy named Caldwin. He's like, oh, you want to talk about going to Carrion? That doesn't directly matter to me because I'm going to Carrion. And that's basically saying for me who lives in Chicago, I'm hoping to go somewhere in the East Coast. I'd like to go to New York someday. Wow, no one could matter in terms of their fucking broader perspective of where they're hoping to go someday than to say, wow, I'd like to go what's south of Detroit? I'd like to go to Columbus and Cleveland and Eastern City. Wow, you have people who are hoping to go that way. Wow, what a fucking civilization that y'all are thinking about. So he runs them through some shit in terms of the city that he's in, which is Tremontcion, which is geographically speaking basically Chicago, but much less interesting. So we meet a dude. He's called Captain Caldwin. Captain Caldwin, probably down on his luck. Caldwin, not really in a position of power, but he gets lucky. He meets Rand. He meets definitely not Lanfear. He meets Loyal and Ogier. That's cool. Loyal and Ogier are cool. He meets Huron. Sniffers, totally not something we acknowledge, but they're cool anyway. Caldwin looks at this gang and he goes, fuck, this is some shit that we should acknowledge as we move forward. Let's make a point to, load this party up with a secondary party. Yeah. Let's give a bunch of guards and other dudes who have nothing better to do because, again, we're in the middle of fucking nowhere in Tremontcion, which shares a prefix with Tremontcion and is therefore a city that matters for reasons that I don't know because my name is Captain Caldwin and I'll never be mentioned again after this chapter.
And that I double checked. I actually Googled. I did the same thing.
Me too. He is never talked about again. But this is the shit, dude. Yeah. So that's where we're at with the end of this chapter. Everyone gets ready to roll out. Celine is like, oh, I left in the middle of the night. There's no reason to think about that. That's a grander
That's
thing.
pretty accurate.
And then Rand gets ready to go to Kyrian to do some Dice Daymar bullshit.
Solid recap, Gus.
A very good recap. I hate the
Jono,
way
I assume you have annoying thoughts immediately.
Oh yeah, I've got many annoying thoughts. So let's start on some direct quotes, and I want your opinion on this. And let's be honest, I'm drunk. Is it obvious what this is about? The answer is yes. Celine was still half full, but she motioned curtly for one of the girls to go take it. A pleasure, friend Ogier. Ogier smiled. It takes a lot to fill up one of you. Corrine, find another, or bring another helping and be quick. Takes a lot to fill one of you. Obviously, they're talking about dildos.
I think
Or butt plug.
I'm glad you said that because that's what I was going to say.
That here's what I'll say. I think it is a safe assumption to say that Lanfear is experienced in sexual awakening.
She's been 30 for 3,000 years, yeah.
Yeah, Rand is not.
Yeah.
Dirty 30s.
Yeah, dirty 30s.
Whoa, you said it hard. Dirty 30 centuries is over there.
I think when you guys bring Allie in as a guest, you'll have a lot more perspective on everything. But I think
I feel like it's weird to talk around your wife potential for questions on these things. Having said, toss around your wife in general.
Beyonce.
You're not supposed to. The answer is no. Never say that. Never say that. It's disgusting. Disgusting.
Well, I think Lanfear probably you can err on the side of caution of Lanfear knows what's up. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I think she does.
I wrote they're welcomed as Lord and Lady, which I think is funny because Rand is just completely lying now because he's been lying to Celine for so long that he's like, oh yeah, I'm a lord. That guy, he carries my bags. Celine is pissed off the entire time. Yeah, we didn't mention that he plays the skin flute. That's a very important part of this chapter. It's so funny when the innkeeper is like, are you guys hunting the horn? And he's like, what? No! That's weird. We don't want to have the horn of Valor here with us. No, easy.
What if he just said, no, of course not. We already have it.
Yeah, of course not. We have it. We're not hunting anything. It's in this chest.
Yes,
our episode for this entire I can't think of a better term than chapter. Yeah, section is the metal chest because Celine keeps going, oh, open the chest.
Open it. Just I want to see it in the daylight.
I want to look at the chest, Rand. Yeah. Don't you want to look at the chest? The metal chest.
Gus, I really appreciate you, but I hope you know that part of it, we find out later, is actually held by helium, which is in fact gas.
A noble gas.
I feel like she's like a flasher that
metal,
but can't open the trench coat by herself.
Could your man?
Well, she can though.
He doesn't play. I would.
She can open the fucking thing. It's a Age of Legends lock, and she goes, I know how to do that.
It's actually just the shot. It's two fingers on the right and one finger on the left. There's nothing clever about it.
Pop that right open.
Yeah.
Jono, I wrote a note just for you. His brand doesn't hinder his fingering.
Rand's hand is ribbed for his own pleasure.
What does that look like? Rand's he's kind of like sometimes, he's not really like horny, but just kind of just rubs it around. So he's got that brand just kind of like nestle his hand onto his dick head.
The officer, Caldewan, as Gus mentioned, comes over and asks him a bunch of weirdly probing questions.
Yeah.
Celine almost burns the inn down because she doesn't want to answer those questions, which is kind of a high point. to just avoid saying her name. He's like, and what's your name, my lady? And she's like, I'll just channel and knock this lamp over. No big deal.
Fuck off.
Oh, there's a disturbance. I'm going to bed. See you later.
Yeah. She's so bad at humanity.
I actually, Jono, on that note, I literally wrote, like, why didn't she take fucking 10 minutes to build, like, a backstory that's plausible? Like, instead of, like, just rushing straight at Rand and being like, here's a loose story that, if you ask me any questions whatsoever, will be shown as a lie. Like,
look, here's the real. Even if she gets caught somehow by some random soldier that's like,
what happened?
I don't recognize your name, and you're a liar. It's not like or Rand's going to get up from the table all of a sudden and be like, wait a minute, you're lanfear.
You are lying.
No, I mean, to your point though, Joe. I mean, like, again. What's the point?
She should have spent less time hanging out in windows for Uno to see, and more time just going to Carrion and just being like, I'm a fake lord. I mean, all the rest of the Forsaken do this. They all have like established, like Robin, like any of them that come later. Obviously not this early.
This is why they did that. They're actually all watching her and being like, Jesus Christ. Well,
it makes you wonder how fast they got
bad at this.
Spit out of these, so to speak, like this of the prison, you know? Like, so like you assume Lanfear was out relatively quickly because she had no time to like throw together a decent backstory, but I feel like it wouldn't have taken her that long. She could have gone into some Carrion and Noble house, murdered a woman, taken over her life with Mask of Mirrors, and just been like, this is me.
But then she would have been
established.
But then she would have been less hot.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, only in terms of the people that know that woman.
I guess being hot right now is very critical to her plan.
It is true.
Being hot very important. But no, to your point,
not
very, very easily just done. Just saying, hey, look, I don't want them to know who I am. I'm from the royal family of Camelin or Carrion.
I'm from a place.
Say, I'm from the Two Rivers too. We're married. Now all of a sudden, like, she has to pretend they're married. Therefore, it makes sense for them to sleep together, fuck together, fist each other, and like there's all of a sudden like, well, what the fuck? I don't know anything about her. She's from another fucking country. Like, it's all right, goddamn.
Yeah, and then Rand wouldn't know enough to question her, like why she's lying to him or whatever.
What about this? They met her in a Portal Stone world. What if they're like, where are you from? She's like, I don't know. I'm from Blibbity Blah. I don't even know how I got here.
Yeah.
Why even say anywhere real?
There you go. Story told. Or just go like, oh wait, this is my world, but not my world, I guess, because apparently my noble house doesn't exist here.
Yeah, what about that?
Weird.
I'm from here, and I've been here for a long time, and it's terrifying. There's bear frogs.
I love how the the captain Caldeman comes up to them and goes, "Hey, are you or like, hey, by the way, I'm sorry if we offended her. Your lady is hot as fuck." But
it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah, right.
And he's like,
really
forgive me for saying this, but she's super hot. And he's like, oh yeah, I know she is. Don't worry about that.
He's way like low key aggressive, and it's just like, look, I know she's a lady, and you appear to be a lord, but like, I'm pretty sure I could have that if you weren't.
Yeah, but she's super hot.
It's very disturbing.
And Rand's like, oh yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about that. She is super hot. Also, what's that statue? And he's like, oh, now you're asking me.
Rand's just like, if you think she looks hot now, wait till she takes her glasses off.
It's really uncomfortable, and he just keeps going like, by the way, God has blessed you with that pussy. Like, I don't know what you're doing to her. Like, you must have a tongue. I don't know what your fingers do. I don't know what the fuck. Like, they may like be shaped dildo-like, but I mean,
I guess the point is that she's so hot, and they do keep going over this, that like no one can help themselves.
So Rand immediately asks about for Rand the statue. And then he's like, and Caldevan is like, oh yeah, it's from the Age of Legends, which is a big deal because Rand's like, oh shit, that's from the Age of Legends.
Are we still asking Caldevan questions? Because Caldevan is still like pretty
kind of the conversation back and forth. Like Rand's like,
what do her nipples look like?
Yeah, Caldevan's like, what are her nipples like? And he's like, oh, they're perky. And then Rand's like, well, what about that statue? And he's like, oh, it's from the Age of Legends. And he's like,
perky mean to you? Like does she
just like, are you still asking me questions about the statue? Have you seen your girlfriend?
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
I wrote Calvin. I wrote, he has a shitload of D words to unearth his statue.
Dig.
It's a very subtle Rackus joke.
Well, Keldovwin is very intrigued about what Rand thinks about all the digging.
Yeah, just anything in general. Calvin does mention the Four Gators and how elitist lord he is about it.
Yeah, we get really into that shit.
I love this. What's funny is that I almost wish that there was more in the maps, because that's the type of person I am, who's a shitbag. But the Four Gators are probably 25% of the population of the entire city. Really, it seems like it seems to be a massive amount of the population here in the actual town. Or not necessarily the country, obviously, but they're very important to the culture and to the entire just population. And yet it's just kind of, we got some of them here, we got some of this there. These are what the fuck they like, but they're a bunch of shitbags. And it really doesn't make sense to a certain extent, because here we are in a town that's really kind of not that important, other than the fact that it's got this fucking statue here. Where they are in Tremoncian.
But the statue itself is important to the king, so I think that him being there in charge of that, although it makes him like a lesser lord and / military officer, clearly indicates that he is of some importance, because the king trusts him with unearthing the statue.
True, but and we don't actually see this guy again. I double checked, but this actual town itself is not strategically important for anything other than this guy.
No, not at all.
So there's
How did they
not
find it?
people.
Was a farmer farming and hit a crystal ball?
It's a wonderful question. The answer has to be yes. But
just
is,
I just trying to plant some corn. They fucking hit some it looks like a big ass thumb. I don't know.
What would happen if it was the guy who could actually channel himself? He wasn't obviously strong.
That's an excellent question, Tom, because it's down deep in a ravine. When Rand's on the precipice of that, it seems like that's where they dug down to. So how the
somebody hit the tip, or they were digging a well.
Yeah, somebody hit the tip.
I've done that before. Gus, what do you think?
So all I have for the rest of this chapter is that the innkeeper gives Rand some interesting lady advice about makeup sex.
I love this. Gus, this lady advice.
So the innkeeper in Tremoncian, which it's a name of a town that we don't know outside of this chapter. We don't need to keep
talking about the names of the town. We talked about it.
Go on. No, Gus, keep going.
No, makeup sex advice. My battery's dying again.
Well, he goes out of his way, He goes, hey, wow, here we are in Tremoncian. Not to be confused with Tremoncian. Whatever. Bear that in mind if you want. And then Lanfear wakes up the next day and is like, oh, here I am in some
Sean.
Yeah.
Trem thing where there's big dude with there's thing so whatever. Hey, here's a letter I left for y'all. Don't worry about it too much in terms of thinking about things that
I honestly think we should just say the end of the episode is you making an orgasmic sound.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Dude, look, in my defense, that's what she does, is she just keps on throwing out a bunch of
Let's just do that. Tom, just end this.
All right, that's tWoTcast for this week.
Wait.
If you have any comments or questions, the best way to find us is on Twitter. That's tWoTcast.
Listen where you get podcasts. You can email us, twotcast@gmail.com.
You can join us in conversation on our Discord server, permanently linked at the top of our Twitter profile. And recently, we sort of use it.
We're on Patreon way more often than we used to be. Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's accurate.
That's at patreon.com/tWoTcast. If you enjoyed the show, help us out and give us $1.
Those dollars go further than they used to do, too. The tWoTcast theme song has been brought to you today by Taffy Bennington. At Sing with Taffy on Twitter and Anarchy 101 on YouTube. You're probably like, well, of course he's done that today. Guess what? We have more than one theme song because we are better than you by multiple.
That is true. Also, I didn't change that with that in mind, but I will probably put that on.
Yeah.
All right, I'll put it on the next episode just because I didn't write a good outro for that.
You know what I heard, by the way, Joe? It takes time to move on.
Gus, plugs?
I am here from Wheel Takes Podcast. We are at Wheel Takes Pod on Twitter, at Wheel Takes Pod on Instagram, and Facebook.com/Wheel Takes. Wheel Takes, really, that's us. So anything.
That's perfect.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What do you guys? How do you like to take it?
How do we like to take it?
Hot takes.
We're what takes.
That's the joke, Jono. That's how
Joe likes to take it.
They like to take it what?
All right, join us next week for the Wheel of Time, Book 2, The Great Hunt, Part 8, covering chapters 22 through 24. You've been listening to Jono. Joe.
Keep the change, you filthy animals.
I'm Tom, study your math, and Gus.
Hey, Wheel Takes.
All right, that's it.
Thank you. We really enjoyed it.
Hey, Will Takes.
That was awesome.